Canada is like the opposite to Greece. Greece has more than 3% GDP or close to that invested, but it doesn't use its military because it wants to prepare for potential war against Turkey. And so it doesn't deploy to Afghanistan, has little to Ukraine, basically keeps its military at home. And so you may achieve that objective, but basically it does not help its NATO allies when they're in need. Canada is the opposite. We don't spend enough, but we're there in almost all missions. I say almost because we were one of the first two to withdraw from NATO operations in Afghanistan in 2010, following the Dutch then. But excluding that mission, that 2010 to 2014, Canada has taken part in all NATO operations in history, including right now in Latvia. And so when the Prime Minister says we have to look at what we're doing, not just how much we're investing, he's right. However, our capacity to achieve those missions is based on how much money you put in the military in the first place. And so you can be there, but if you can't achieve your objective, which is to raise up to more than 2,000 troops in Latvia because you don't have enough soldiers, or you can't deploy your frigates because you don't have enough sailors, or when you can't you don't have any air defenses or no drones or no counter-drone capacities, you can't achieve your job, which is to defend that country against Russian aggression. So there are, all the literature has demonstrated that there are clear correlation between how much you invest and how much you can deploy, your level of readiness or deployability of your troops. And so we can't use this dichotomically, but we do need to look at it in terms of nuance or more in the gray zone, if you will. But if we look at Canada's support to Ukraine, for instance, we can say, well, see, we're the, I think, sixth largest contributor in absolute numbers, but the 20th per GDP. And so which metric do you want to use? When you look at what the Ukrainian military are actually needing to achieve, which is Canada's objective, which is for Ukraine to defeat the Russian military in its country and have the Russian military retreat back home. When you look at the most important kit that we deployed, that we provided to Ukraine, say tanks, well, our 8 tanks are fewer than what Spain has done, what Sweden has done, what Slovenia has done, what the Dutch have done, what the Czechia has done, what Poland has done. Is that enough? Do we need 15 tanks in Latvia, or should they better be used in Ukraine right now? I'm in the camp that they should be they'd be of better use in Ukraine right now, and there should be a plan to acquire more in the coming years to replace those that would be provided to Ukraine. Because if we're going to fight to defend Latvia, it's going to be against the same enemy as those tanks would be now facing in Ukraine. And if we look at artillery, it's the same. The 4 that Canada has provided are fewer than many countries. It's fewer than what Portugal has given, what Australia has given, what the Dutch, the Danes, the Estonians, the Norwegians, the Italians, the Polish, all of these countries have provided. And so when our prime minister or foreign minister or defense minister go abroad and say, we're there to support Ukraine as long as it's necessary, and we want to defeat the Russian military, but you only provide that little kit to achieve that counteroffensive that needs it today, not in 2 years, not in 3 years. They need it right now to come across the Russian fortifications. I think that there's a disconnect between what we do and what we say we want to achieve.